Happy blissful day, Master Manifestors, and welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, my name is Gabriel.
And my name is Kylie, and today we just want to share a little bit about triggers and how to deal with them. You see, triggers are essentially things that, well, they can really mess us up. They can really put us into a spiral. They can somehow throw us off our manifestation journey. And so we thought it was very important to address these triggers and, how do we deal with them? Essentially, it's just anything that happens in the 3D that does not align yet with your self-concept. So if you are manifesting and you're changing your self-concept to become a millionaire, and all of a sudden, you check your bank balance and it doesn't have $1 million in it, or you have a bill to pay and you're kind of struggling to pay that bill, that can really trigger you. Because you're like, Aisha, why isn't this showing yet? I am a millionaire, but it's not showing and I don't see it. And it can really just throw you off course and make you start to doubt, have anxieties, have fears, anything like that. Now, the good news is that if we change the way we view triggers, we're able to change our outcome and we can avoid those spirals and anxieties. You see, a lot of times these triggers are essentially just indicators of where you're at. It could be something playing out from an old story. If you had just started shifting your self-concept, you still have this old story playing out in your 3D. That's where you used to accept that you were not a millionaire. Maybe you had a poverty mindset, or you just accepted, I make $2,000 a month, that's it. And so that could still be playing out in your reality. Or if you have been on this journey, it can be an indicator to say, hey, Kylie, I know you are changing your self-concept, but you're not quite there yet. And this is where you're not at. It's like a map. It says you are here. It's just an indication of your location in your journey. And when we can reframe our mindsets to see triggers just as indicators, then we don't have such an emotional reaction to it. We don't allow it to control us. We just say, okay, I see here that my bank balance does not match with $1 million. Okay, I see that. Now, instead of just, as we say, slapping manifestations on and moving on, look inside, do introspection, see where your self-concept is not yet aligned with, what you're trying to become. Or also analyze maybe, okay, this shows me that I still have a fear, anxiety, a doubt, something like that that's still not quite playing out.
Indeed, yeah, indeed. Because we should, another good thing at least that I've learned is to view triggers as blessings, because these triggers are actually there to help us to grow and to evolve, right? And so as the example my beautiful wife shared, so if I'm triggered by maybe having to pay a bill or having to help someone, knowing that I do not have the money, I should just see it as, a blessing, because that's an opportunity for me to just do some introspection and say, okay, why am I feeling triggered? Why is this actually happening now, and what is it trying to teach me? So it could be that I am not accepting that I am worthy of being a millionaire, number one, or I'm not good enough, or whatever the case may be. But when you actually just pause and don't try to run away from the trigger, at least what I did, or try to hide from the trigger, or just like don't want to deal with it at all, rather take a moment, pause and say, okay, what is this trying to teach me? When you ask yourself that, your mind will give you the answer. It will say, okay, because of this, that, and the other. So whatever the answer is, then you're like, oh, okay, right? Okay, I accept that I am this now, and really just feel into it. Take a moment and feel into it, however long it takes. So when you do that, the trigger will dissipate. You will actually see that, I don't feel so heavy anymore. And when it does show up in your 3D, it will not have any bearing, on you. It will just be like you like walking towards, you know, the mall or shop or wherever, and you just see like, you know, people passing by. You know, these people that pass by, they don't have any emotional, you know, bearing on you. It's just people that are walking past, right? That's how the triggers, these triggers, when they show up again, it will be like, huh, okay, I I know that that's no longer the truth, because you've now accepted that you are worthy of your desire, or you've accepted that you're good enough. Obviously, we would not know. You would know why the triggers are actually showing up. It's only when you really press pause, take that moment, and ask, why is this trigger showing up? Especially if these triggers are showing up time and time and time and time and time again. If it's a common pattern, then it's something that you have to address. Because if you're not going to address it, or if you're going to be like me, I used to only slap affirmations on there and say that I'm God, I'm the I am, I'm the I am. And that did not work out for me very well. It made me more anxious, sometimes depressed, and I would spiral like a mother, you know. But then when I actually just took the time and say, hey, what is this trying to teach me? And when I finally got that, all right, okay, I did not accept that I was worthy, because there was an instant that happened when I was a child, and I accepted that I wasn't worthy. So, and I've basically just um, identify a meaning to that event at the time and say, yeah, that's why I'm not worthy. And I grew up with this belief, and it obviously ran the show of my life until I just took a moment and say, no, I accept that I am worthy.
Yeah, and I think, I've just looking back at things that I would be triggered by, depending on whatever I was manifesting. And when I really sat and looked at the trigger, I saw that maybe I was triggered by it, but it actually wasn't in alignment with my self-concept. I think back to when we first started our business and we were transitioning from having, a steady, known paycheck to being entrepreneurs. And people were all of a sudden kept asking us for money and stuff like that. They needed help or loans or whatever, family and friends, as people do. And for me, that would trigger me. But then at the same time, when I was able to reflect back, I thought, no, because I'm seeing myself as a millionaire, and now all these other people are also seeing me as a millionaire. So really, it's in alignment with my desire. We also have, some clients who, they're manifesting an SP, and people say to them like, oh, and your husband? And they're like, oh no, I'm not married. And for them, it triggers them because they're like, I'm constantly reminded that I'm not married, I don't have a spouse. But then we say, no, but you see, people are perceiving you as though you're married. They're aligning with your self-concept. And so I think it's also important to really take a look at what is the trigger itself. And yes, you still might be triggered by it, but maybe it is in alignment with your self-concept. And to embrace that and say, okay, yes, people do see me that I do have money. Yes, thank you. People do see me as a married person. Yes, thank you.
Indeed.
You can change your perspective on it depending on what it is.
Yes, exactly. And just how you just share that it came from a place of a person that feels worthy of being in a relationship with the SP, or feels worthy of being a millionaire. And so when that comes up again, you would not see it as a trigger. You would now see it as, yeah, confirmation.
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course.
That's a bridge of event or a bridge of happenings. It's like, yeah, oh yeah, it's a done deal. I like that. I like that. Oh, awesome. Awesome. Yeah, so that's how you deal with triggers, at least how we've also, learned how to, because as I shared, I used to just put affirmations on those bad boys.
And then it bottled up in them.
But now I see them as blessings, when they actually do appear. And I actually ask, okay, so, why here, and what can I learn from this? And, you know. It's just so beautiful because it's just it's that moment of growth, expansion, and evolution for me as well. And it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and having said all that, we also just want to share that we have a new domain for our website. So if you've been using the old one or seeing that some of our links aren't working, everything's back up and running under a new domain. You can access all of our courses that way. You can take a look at our coaching options, book your discovery calls, whatever you want to do. Everything's back live again, thankfully.
Indeed.
And having said that, thank you so much for watching, for liking, for sharing, for commenting, for subscribing.
And thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.